Did you know that if you can speak both French and English, you can get a job and move to Canada way easier than somebody who can just speak English? You don't need an LMIA, the job doesn't need to be French speaking, and the language test scores are really, really low. If you are French speaking and you're interested in moving to Canada, listen up. Today we're going to talk about the Francophone immigration in Canada and how you can come to Canada way easier just on the premise of you knowing how to speak French. Watch to the end to find out how low the scores have to be, and there's going to be a special forum that is happening in just a few weeks that I think you should not miss out on. So the Francophone immigration program or Francophone mobility program is made for you to live, work, and study in French in Francophone communities outside of Quebec. We always know that it's kind of tied to Quebec because they're French speaking over there. And when I saw this, I was like, French speaking communities outside of Quebec? Where? Francophone equals French speaking, okay? So where are these communities outside of Quebec? So there's quite a bit of communities, and on this map here, which is provided by the government of Canada, there is a yellow node and there is a gray node. The yellow nodes are all of the French speaking communities or Francophone communities. And then the gray nodes are the 14 communities that have gone above and beyond to welcome immigrants or welcome newcomers to their French speaking community. They have a lot of support by the government and a lot of resources to help to enhance a newcomer to their community experience by providing access to resources, training, all of that wonderful stuff. So those are the 14 communities that have gone above and beyond. But all of these nodes on this map are nodes that are communities across Canada that are French speaking. And Toronto is one of them. There's places all over the place, little nodes here. Here's Ontario. So that Toronto is on the map as a French speaking node. So, and there's no restriction for which community you can go to. It's just that those 14 have a little bit more oomph and they're probably wanting you to go there first. So they're making it more attractive to go there. Here are the 14 communities that have gone above and beyond. You can check them out. If you were job searching, I'd say start here. All right, so there's different streams, let's call them, under this program, which is the Francophone immigration program. So there is the Francophone mobility work permit that you can get. And then there's the Francophone immigration through express entry. And if you are aware of the express entry category-based draws, they have a French category-based draw, a French-speaking category-based draw, or Francophone category-based draw. That is specific to express entry. And we're going to talk about these two. So first of all, the Francophone mobility work permits. So this work permit requires you, or for you to be eligible for this work permit, you have to have a job offer. Now, this job offer does not need to be supported by an LMIA, right? The job, though, cannot be in primary agriculture occupations. So that's just off the list. But every other occupation, every other job is available for this work permit. The language of the job does not need to be in French as long as the job position is outside of Quebec, which this whole program is centered around outside of Quebec, French-speaking communities outside of Quebec. And it offers you a work permit to work in Canada. So this is not a permanent residency program. When you get this work permit, what it does is allows you to come to Canada, work. Then you get 1 year, you work for a year or so, and you are eligible for Canadian Experience class, or you're eligible to join the express entry pool and have even more points, having worked in Canada, knowing French, all these wonderful things. And so it provides a pathway to permanent residency through express entry with all these perks and points and stuff, right? So who is eligible? Now, before June, the rules were a little bit different, and I don't think that's relevant for me to say right now because you're probably watching this because it's after June 2023. So, general eligibility for a person, which is a candidate, which is you, is the general stuff: proof of funds, ties to your home country, no criminal record, of course, your experience, you're in good health, and the job offer is from an eligible employer. right? Because some employers break the rules and do bad things and then get on the bad list. Okay, so don't choose law employers from the naughty list. So the second thing is, of course, you have to be able to speak and listen in French. Note that if you are any at all familiar with any of the language tests in Canada, we know that there are four criteria or 4 skills that they check for your language abilities. There is speaking, listening, reading, and writing. For this French qualification, you only need a Canadian language benchmark score of at least 5. 5 is like you just passed, like you just above passed. Only for speaking and listening. You don't need to prove that you can read or write. Now, it would suit you to do well in those areas as well, but they are not as important as your ability to speak and listen in French and understand. Really, listening is just understanding. So an intermediate level of French, and the job offer or your experience can be in any tier, any NOC, which is any job or occupation. If you need some more information on job or NOC or tier, if you have no clue what NOC means, tier means, LMIA means, please drop a dinosaur emoji in the comment section below so that I can know that you guys need some more information on that and I can point you in the right direction. So LMIA, tier, NOC. So here's the language test table, right? And I wanted to bring this up so you can understand that 4 is pass. 4 you just passed, and 5 is the next notch up. So that is all you need in order to say that, yes, I am French speaking, I am bilingual. You need a score 5 in speaking and listening. The other 2 are not as important, but I think you should try to do your best in all 4 because it looks better on paper. You know what I mean? Now, the job offer. Now, when a Canadian employer offers you a job, the Canadian employer has a responsibility to you and to the government. They need to submit the offer to IRCC through their employer portal, and they have to pay a compliance fee of about 230 Canadian dollars. And then they give you an offer of employment that has a 7-digit number on it, which is usually, if the job was LMIA, that 7-digit number would be an LMIA number. But in this case, you're going to get a 7-digit number from a LMIA exempt job offer or employer in this situation because of the whole French speaking rah-rah. Okay, so that's the responsibility of the Canadian employer. Not very huge. I think it's reasonable if they really want French speaking people, you know. Here's just the steps from job offer to PR for this stream that we just spoke about, which is the Francophone Mobility Work Permit. So 1, you get a job offer. 2, the employer does the whole compliance process. Then you apply for your work permit. Then you move to Canada and work for a year. Of course, when you get a work permit, you're going to get your visa, all of that. Move to Canada, work for minimum 1 year, join the express entry pool, receive an invitation to apply for permanent residency once you have enough points, of course, and apply for PR. And that's the process from job offer to PR if you come through this work permit. Because remember, the work permit is just a permit to work. It's not an application for PR. Okay, PR equal permanent residency. Now, the next stream is the express entry stream. Now, this stream is nothing different or special than the usual express entry stream, but with this allowance for French-speaking people or Francophone or bilingual people, you can do the usual, it will be the usual express entry requirements and programs. So federal skilled worker, federal trades, Canadian experience class, and provincial nominee program. Okay? If you need to know more about that, there's going to be a video tag to the end of this that you can watch to understand more about express entry. Now, you want to choose your first official language is the one that you're strongest in. Okay. Now there's going to be a combination of points that you're going to get if you're both English and French speaking. So you always want to maximize on that if you have both. 50 additional points if you have strong French language skills, even if your second language is French. Strong, I think, is probably a higher score, right? So even though I said, okay, you only have to get 5, don't shoot for 5. 5 is just what will make you eligible. But the higher the score, the greater the points. We know this for English and for French, okay? If you score NCLC, is like the CLB, Canadian Language Benchmark for French, overall score of 7 or higher for all 4 French language skills, you get 25 more points if you scored 4 or lower in your English test, and you get 50 additional points if you scored 5 or more on all 4 of your English skills. So we know that the score matters, and the difference between 25 and 50 points can get you an invitation to apply, okay? So do your best, not because the benchmark is 5 means you must shoot for 5, but it's helpful to know that it's 5. The process is that for you from your home country or wherever you are, you could probably be in Canada, you join the express entry pool, you receive an invitation to apply if you have enough points, and you apply for permanent residency. Then you move to Canada as a permanent resident. Now, in order to join the express entry pool, you do have to have your language test results, and you do have to have whatever education you are claiming you have assessed by education credential assessment organization like WES. Okay, anybody who is educated outside of Canada and is trying to use that education to be eligible for an immigration program needs to have their education credentials assessed in order for Canada to be able to determine that whatever you did in your home country is equivalent to what it would be in Canada. Is your 3-year bachelor's degree in architecture equivalent to a 3-year bachelor's degree in architecture, or is it just equivalent to like a diploma in architectural technology in Canada? Those are the steps for express entry, and those are the things that you need to even join the express entry pool. Okay, you don't just jump in. You gotta have your education assessed and your English and French, of course, test. Or just French if you're just French speaking. But if you're just French speaking, you're probably not going to understand this unless you do the translation. I guess so. The 2024 levels for French speakers is even greater than the Atlantic Immigration Program. 26,100 people will be invited to apply for permanent residency throughout 2024 just through French-speaking permanent residency pathways outside of Quebec. That is a big deal if you consider it beside the other immigration streams like Atlantic Immigration Program and even this economic pilots. That is like a lump sum of 4 other programs for just 10,000 people. So I think that this is something to capitalize on. And hint, hint, if you are watching this and you're an international student and you don't have enough points, consider picking up some French. All right. At the end of the year, close to the end of the year, just in the first week of December, they are having a forum, they being Citizenship and Immigration Canada, right? So IRCC and some other people have come together and they're having what's called a Destination Canada Mobility Forum. Now, this forum is for Francophone and bilingual candidates who are interested in coming to Canada to live and work in French-speaking communities. There are certain in-person events, like if you're trying to fly to Paris in France, then you can just go there next week or at the end of this week. What's today? Yeah, you can go there November 18th to 19th, book your tickets, or you can go to Morocco the following week, have fun, or you can join online on December 4th to 6th. And who can attend is somebody who is either in the express entry pool or somebody who is on a working holiday as a young professional in Canada on this thing called International Experience Canada, which is also under the French-speaking immigration programs. I didn't talk about it because I don't believe that anybody who is part of my community is looking for that stuff. But if you are looking for this whole young professional holiday thing, comment in the section below and I can do content on that. But that program is really, there's no Caribbean country on the list that is eligible. No African country, I don't think, is on the list. So it's very limited in terms of who is eligible to come and on a working holiday. Okay. Or if you meet the eligibility requirements for immigration to Canada outside of Quebec, which is not hard to meet generally. Or if your profile matches the skills and experience Canadian employers are looking for. Now, you only have to meet one of these in order to be able to attend this online forum. I think it's a good idea. And when you attend the forum, once you're in, you have access to whatever is going on in there until March of next year, so that you can get more information, you can network, do different things inside this online platform. So I think you should capitalize on that if you are French speaking and you are interested in coming to Canada. Or if you're already here, you're trying to stay here. Hint, hint. Karen. Who is going to be there? IRCC will be there at the forum. There will be representatives from the provinces, territories, and Francophone communities. There will be employers who are looking to fill positions in Canada, and there will be companies there who facilitate educational credential assessments and language tests. So I think that it is probably going to be jam-packed with information that's going to be helpful to you, hopefully very encouraging, and hopefully a lot of employers show up. I don't think I can get on the list to sneak in, but I could try. Just kidding. I'm not going to do that. Don't tell anybody. Now, where do you find jobs? I think it's a good idea to go to that forum and see the employers and see what's available on there. But I'd say start in Job Bank and Indeed, and start with the 14 welcoming communities, and then expand your search from there. The 14, I'm sure that they're highlighting these 14 communities because they probably want to make it more attractive for people to go to these ones to build up their Francophone community thingy. The funny thing about it is that none of these places outside of Quebec are first language French. Hamilton. So now, what are your next steps for this mobility Francophone? You like my French? Program. I think you should register for the free forum if you are eligible, if you can say yes to any one of the things that is the eligibility criteria. Then I think you should, if you think you're eligible, I think you should get together with our immigration consultants. Now, we know that the cap is 26,100. Yes, it sounds like a lot of people, but in the grand scheme of the whole world, it's not really. And so once things open up in January, people will be gunning for a lot of immigration programs, and it is quite easy for caps to get filled in a short space of time. So you want to act swiftly. And you want, when January comes, you are prepared. So now it's November, you want to start, well, now it's November, I don't know when you're watching this, but you want to start preparing for 2024. And if it's already 2024, you want to continue your preparation or start your preparation to be a part of that 26,100 if this is something that you are eligible for. And to start job hunting, start networking, and start taking the steps to seeing if this is a pathway that is right for you. Get together with our immigration consultant. All the links that you should have to access this thing is going to be in the description below. You can get a discount to our immigration consultant, immigration fees and her services by downloading the coupon below as well. And I think this is going to be a wild ride and a good adventure. So I think we should get together and let's have a party in French. I don't speak French, but I could. International students, I think you should learn some French. Just saying. If you found value in this video, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. Share it with anybody who this might be helpful for. And tune in to all the immigration programs from A to Z playlist right here on screen. Get yourself immersed. It is available for you in Canada in 2024 and years to come. Always feel free to drop comments in the section below and reach out to me if you need any assistance on anything that I said today. My email address, everything is available in the description below. See you in the next video.